Welcome, everyone. Let's begin today by thinking about the four images on the screen. One of these images is not like the others. Teachers, take a moment and please pause the video so that these four images remain on the screen. Have your students write down which one they think is not like the other three and also why they think it's not like the others. Then have your students discuss their thinking. I'll see you back here in a few minutes after your discussion. I hope everybody had a good discussion about which one they felt was not like the others. If you could explain your thinking about why you chose the image you did, then you're correct. Now, for the purpose of today's lesson, the one I chose that was not like the others is the hurdler. Now, the reason that he is not like the others is because the basketball is hitting its target of going into the net. The arrow hit the target of going into the bullseye, and the runner hit the target of going across the finish line. But the man who is jumping over the hurdles is not going to reach the target of going over the hurdle. He is actually going to hit the hurdle. So that is why this image is not like the others, which leads into today's lesson.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Kissinger, and today we're going to talk about best practices for answering multiple choice questions. Many standardized tests like the SAT and PSAT have multiple choice questions. And many times when students are answering multiple choice questions, you tend to read until you find an answer that sounds right, select that choice, and move on to the next. Unfortunately, the first one that was close wasn't the answer. To combat this problem, we're going to learn about the different types of answers that test creators write. So let's look first at a bullseye.
The bullseye shows us how to break down our answers into four different categories. Your goal or target when answering a multiple choice question is to find the answer that is in the bullseye. But let's take a look first at the black ring answers. Those are answers that are far from correct. So they fall way outside of answering the question. The next type of questions that test writers write are blue ring answers. Those are answers that are often facts or details from the text. So you're reading along and you look at that answer and you think, oh yeah, that happened in the story. And you might pick that blue ring answer, but the problem with that is, yes, it happened in the text, but it wasn't the answer to the precise question being asked. So we have to try to avoid those black ring answers and those blue ring answers by making sure that we look and read every possible answer choice. After you've eliminated the black ring answer choices and the blue ring answer choices, you're left with two possible answer choices. And this is where it can get really tricky because those red ring answers, they are mostly correct, but they're not the best possible answer choice. So this is where you're going to have to analyze those two answer choices to see which one is the best choice to answer the question being asked.
And now you have two possible choices. The red ring answers are tricky because they are mostly correct. What is written in the answer is true, but it's not complete. You have to read to see if there is another answer that is more correct. Many times, it's the little words within those answers that can cause a big difference. Words like and, or, always, most of the time. If you read carefully and notice these qualifier words, you're going to be more likely to find the yellow ring, or what I call the bullseye answer. The answer that falls in the yellow bullseye will fully answer the question being asked, and it can be supported with evidence from the text. Make sure you go back to the text and check your answer. Let me show you how this process works.
We'll begin by reading a short passage and then answer a multiple choice question that goes with the text using the bullseye process of elimination. Every day, millions of shoppers hit the stores in full force, both online and on foot, searching frantically for the perfect gift. Last year, Americans spent over $30 billion at retail stores in the month of December alone. Aside from purchasing holiday gifts, most people regularly buy presents for other occasions throughout the year, including weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and baby showers. This frequent experience of gift giving can engender ambivalent feelings in gift givers. Many relish the opportunity to buy presents because gift giving offers a powerful means to build stronger bonds with one's closest peers. At the same time, many dread the thought of buying gifts. They worry that their purchases will disappoint rather than delight the intended recipients. Now, let's take a look at the question that goes with this passage. And both the question and the passage come from an SAT practice exam. The question is, the authors most likely use the examples in lines 1 through 9 of the passage, starting with the word every and continuing on through the word showers, to highlight A, the regularity with which people shop for gifts, B, the recent increase in the amount of money spent on gifts, C, the anxiety gift shopping causes for consumers, or D, the number of special occasions involving gift giving. Now, I like to go through and look at keywords in each of these answer choices. So in A, the keyword here is regularity, which just means how often. In B, the keywords are increase and money. In C, anxiety is the keyword. And in D, the number of special occasions. So the question is asking me, in lines 1 through 9, is the author trying to show me that how often people shop for gifts? Or is he trying to show me the increase in the amount of money spent on gifts, or the anxiety that gift giving causes, or the number of special occasions that we shop for gifts? So I need to go back to lines 1 through 9. Now let's look back at the passage. We are going to focus in on lines 1 through 9, starting with the word every, continuing through until the word showers. And I'm just going to scan for these keywords. Here is 30 billion, so that has to do with the money. Number of special occasions, here's occasions. And here's the word regularly, that has to do with the regularity with which people shop for gifts. Now I'm going to read that, kind of focusing in on those keywords. I don't see anything to do with anxiety in there, scanning. So let's see if it talks about it at all. Every day, millions of shoppers hit the stores in full force, both online and on foot. Well, this every day probably also has to do with regularity. Searching frantically for the perfect gift. Last year, Americans spent over $30 billion at retail stores in the month of December alone. Aside from purchasing holiday gifts, most people regularly buy presents for other occasions throughout the year, including weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and baby showers. So let's look at the bullseye response. I'm going to move this off to the side. Let's take a look at the bullseye answers. We noticed that the word anxiety wasn't mentioned in there at all, and it didn't talk about any gift shopping causes for consumers to have anxiety in lines 1 through 9. So I'm going to say C. I'm going to move that to the black ring. We can eliminate that one quickly. The blue ring answer is a factor detail but doesn't answer the question being asked. So the next one I'm going to look at in B, they did talk about the money, but they didn't talk about any increase or decrease in the amount of money that was being spent. So I don't think that has anything to do with the question being asked because they weren't highlighting an increase. So I'm going to move B to the blue. Now I'm left with two choices, A and D. It did talk about the number of special occasions, and actually, if we look back at the passage, it even listed many occasions like weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and baby showers. So that's a possibility. This regularity, it talks about how every day people shop, and it talked about, aside from holiday gifts, all of the other gifts that we buy presents for throughout the year. So, narrowing this down, D does answer the question, but the best answer choice for this one is going to be A because it is highlighting. So I'm going to put D in the red. It does talk about the number of occasions, but the thing that it's highlighting in here is how often we shop for gifts for others. So by using this bullseye and eliminating answer choices, we found the correct answer, A. Tomorrow you're going to have time to work to practice this process with some multiple choice questions.